Vladimir Putin could remain president for life. That statement should not come as a shock, but an abrupt announcement from Moscow has paved the way for Putin to secure his position for life. An amendment was proposed on Tuesday. Russia's parliament, the Duma, approved it today. This effectively removes the presidential term limits, something that would allow Vladimir Putin to run for president once again in 2024. This is part of the sweeping changes that Russia is making to its constitution.
President Putin has already served 4 presidential terms and 1 term as Prime Minister of Russia in between, when he was forced to stand down under the Constitution, because currently the Constitution says that no president can stand for more than 2 consecutive terms. And as such, in 2024, President Putin is due to come to the end of his tenure. But in January, he made a number of proposals to change the Constitution. At the time, he said he wasn't looking to stay in 2024. A number of changes were made to certain government bodies, giving the parliament more power. At that time, the then Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev stepped down, and there was enormous speculation as to what that could mean for President Putin's future. But now a new option has arisen, and President Putin has left the door open to potentially running again in 2020.
Up until now, no president was allowed to hold office for 2 consecutive terms. Apparently, Putin disagreed with the idea first, but he endorsed it on Tuesday.
The second proposal actually means lifting restrictions for any person, any citizen, including the acting president, and allows him in the future to take part in the election. Of course, in an open and competitive election. And certainly if the Russian citizens support this proposal and this amendment and say yes during the all-Russian vote on April 22nd this year.
Here is how the amendment works in Putin's favor. It allows him to stay in power until 2036. He is 67 years old right now. In 2036, he will be 84. The Russian president plans to put all constitutional changes to vote in a referendum on the 22nd of April. They will also be vetted by the country's courts. But Russia watchers say that neither the legal system nor the voters present a serious challenge to Putin's plans, something that was reflected in how the Russian parliamentarians voted for the amendment today. 383 voted in favor, no one was against it, but 43 lawmakers did abstain. It is hard to gauge the public reaction, how the people on the ground feel about these constitutional changes. We received reports of a minor protest in Moscow, but large public gatherings seem unlikely. Officials are trying to limit them because of the coronavirus outbreak. But in the past, Putin's proposals have seen some protests. And last year, we saw tens of thousands of people take to the streets for weeks in pro-democracy protests.